A giant shadow fell over New York, Tokyo, and Moscow at the same time. People stopped walking. Cars halted. Everyone looked up at the sky. 3 massive ships, each shaped like a long triangle with glowing blue lights, hung in the air above Earth's biggest cities. Each ship was 5 miles long. Commander Zarok stood on the bridge of the main ship, the Star Crusher. His scaly green skin shone under the ship's lights. He had 4 yellow eyes that blinked one after another. Standing 8 feet tall, he looked down at the blue planet on his screen. "So this is Earth," he said, his voice deep and rough. "The planet where humans keep battle beasts as weapons." Sub-Commander Teklar nodded his lizard-like head. "Yes, Commander. Our scouts watch them for 1 Earth year. These humans train dangerous 4-legged creatures for war." Zarok hit a button on his control panel. "Send the message to all human leaders. They must surrender now or face total destruction." "Message." "Sent, Commander," Teklar said. "Their primitive technology cannot stop us." Far below, in the small town of Oakville, Captain Alan Reed was washing his old pickup truck in his driveway. His golden retriever, Buddy, chased water from the hose, barking happily. The dog's tail wagged fast as he jumped through the spray. Alan laughed. "You crazy dog. You're getting all wet." Buddy shook himself, spraying water everywhere. His brown eyes looked up with pure joy as he dropped a tennis ball at Alan's feet. The pleasant Sunday afternoon changed in an instant. Every phone in the neighborhood began to buzz loudly. Emergency alerts. Then the town's tornado siren started wailing. Alan pulled out his phone. The message on the screen made his heart stop. "Emergency alert. This is not a drill. Unknown aircraft have appeared over major cities worldwide. All military personnel report for duty immediately." Being an Army Special Forces captain, Alan knew this was serious. He ran inside to grab his go bag, a backpack always ready for emergencies. "Sorry, buddy. I have to go," he said, scratching the dog behind his ears. The golden retriever tilted, his head confused by his owner's sudden change in mood. Alan called his neighbor. "Hey, Joe, can you watch, buddy? Something big is happening." 20 minutes later, Alan's truck skidded to a stop outside Oakville High School. The building now served as an emergency command center. Soldiers, police officers, and government officials rushed around. The gym was filled with computers, radios, and big screens showing news from around the world. Colonel Susan Barnes spotted Alan and waved him over. She was a tough woman in her 50s who had served in 3 wars. "Reed, thank God you're here," she said. "The world's gone crazy. Look at this." She pointed to the largest screen. It showed a massive ship hovering over New York City. People ran through the streets in panic while police tried to keep order. "What are they?" Alan asked, staring at the impossible sight. "Aliens," Susan said simply. "Real, honest-to-God aliens, and they're not friendly." A man in a rumpled suit approached them. "Captain Reed? I'm Dr. Pete Wilson, head of communications. We need your help." He led Alan to a table covered with strange equipment. The aliens sent messages in several Earth languages. They call themselves the Draconians. Dr. Wilson pressed a button, and a scratchy voice filled the room. It spoke English with a strange, clicking accent. "People of Earth. We are the Draconian Empire. Your planet has been chosen for conquest. Your technology is no match for ours. Surrender immediately or suffer destruction." Alan frowned. "What do they want? Why now?" Dr. Wilson shook his head. "That's the weird part. Listen to this next message." It came an hour later. He played another recording. "Humans, we know about your battle beasts. Our scouts have observed them for years. You will not surprise us with these creatures. Surrender or unleash them. We fear nothing." "Battle beasts?" Alan asked. "What are they talking about?" Colonel Susan shrugged. "No idea. We've tried telling them we don't know what they mean, but they don't believe us." The main screen suddenly changed. A scaly green face appeared, filling the entire display. 4 yellow eyes blinked as the alien looked into the camera. "I am Commander Zarok of the Draconian Empire," the creature said. "Your governments continue to play stupid games. We know you have bred creatures for war. Our scouts have seen them guarding your homes, training with your soldiers, and protecting your young. Do not pretend otherwise." The alien's face came closer, to the camera. "You have 6 Earth hours to surrender or bring forth your battle beasts. If you refuse both options, we will destroy one major city as a demonstration of our power." The screen went black. Colonel Susan looked around the room. "Ideas, people. What the hell are they talking about?" Alan thought hard for a moment. Something clicked in his mind. Wait, creatures that guard homes, train with soldiers, protect children? He pulled out his phone and showed a picture of Buddy to Susan. Could they mean dogs? Dr. Wilson's eyes widened. Dogs? That actually makes sense. He rushed to his computer and typed rapidly. Look at this. Their messages keep mentioning 4-legged creatures that live with humans, guard property, work, with police and military. They must think our pets are some kind of biological weapon, Alan said, almost laughing despite the danger. From their perspective, maybe it seems strange that we keep predator animals in our homes. Colonel Susan wasn't convinced. So you're saying these super-advanced aliens are terrified of Labradors and poodles? The room fell silent as everyone considered this. Alan rubbed his chin. Their culture must be very different. Maybe they have no concept of pets or animal companions. Think about it. They see humans living with trained predators that obey commands. From a certain point of view, that might look like we've weaponized an entire species. A general who had been quietly listening walked over. Captain Reed might be onto something. Their messages specifically mention creatures that follow human commands and show loyalty. So what do we do? Susan asked. Tell them our battle beasts are just fluffy companions that chase balls and sleep on our beds? Before anyone could answer, the alien commander's face appeared on screen again. Humans, your time grows short. Will you surrender to the draconian empire, or will you unleash your beasts? Alan looked around the room, then stepped forward with a determined expression. Sir, I have an idea. Instead of trying to explain with words, let's show them what our battle beasts really are. What do you mean? The general asked. Alan smiled. I mean, let's introduce them to man's best friend. The emergency command center buzzed with nervous energy. People argued about Alan's crazy idea. Some thought it was brilliant. Others said it was the stupidest plan they'd ever heard. General Paul Harris, the highest-ranking officer present, raised his hand for silence. He was an older man with gray hair and sharp eyes that had seen many battles. Let me get this straight, Captain Reed, he said slowly. You want to show these aliens a dog? Alan nodded firmly. Yes, sir. They think our dogs are some kind of super weapon. Let's show them what dogs really are, friendly animals that help us, not war machines. Dr. Wilson adjusted his glasses nervously. The aliens have agreed to a meeting. They want to see our most powerful battle beast as proof of our cooperation. And you want to take your pet golden retriever to meet an alien commander who could blast our planet to dust? Colonel Susan asked, her voice filled with disbelief. Exactly, Alan said. Look, these aliens have watched humans from afar. They've seen dogs protecting homes, working with police, guiding blind people, and playing with children. But they've completely misunderstood the relationship. They think we've created biological weapons when really we've made friends. The room fell silent as everyone thought about this. General Harris sighed deeply. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it might be our best shot. Their technology is far beyond ours. If they decide to attack, our weapons probably won't stop them. A peaceful solution is our only real hope. He turned to Alan. Captain Reed, you have my permission to proceed with this dog diplomacy. But for God's sake, make sure that mutt of yours is on his best behavior. Alan saluted. Buddy is the friendliest dog you'll ever meet, sir. Perfect for first contact. An hour later, Alan drove back to his house. The streets were nearly empty. Most people were inside, glued to their TVs or hiding in basements. The alien ship still hung in the sky above major cities, visible even from miles away. When Alan walked through his front door, Buddy greeted him with wild enthusiasm. jumping up and licking his face. "Hey, boy," Alan laughed, hugging the golden retriever. "Guess what? You're about to make history as Earth's canine ambassador." He grabbed Buddy's leash, his best collar, and a bag of treats. As he was loading the dog into his truck, his neighbor Joe came running over. "Alan, what's happening? Are those really alien ships? Are we being invaded?" Joe asked, his voice shaking. Alan patted his shoulder. "It's a big misunderstanding, Joe. And believe it or not, Buddy here might help fix it." "Your dog? What's he going to do, lick them to death?" Joe asked, trying to laugh despite his fear. "Something like that," Alan replied with a smile. "Wish us luck." The meeting place was a large open field outside town. Military vehicles formed a circle around the area. Soldiers with rifles watched the sky nervously. In the center of the field stood a single table with 2 chairs, one normal-sized and one much larger. Colonel Susan met Alan as he arrived with Buddy. "The alien shuttle is on its way down. Remember the plan. Keep it simple, be respectful, and for heaven's sake, keep that dog under control." "Buddy will be fine," Alan assured her, though his heart was pounding. He knelt down and looked his dog in the eyes. "You're about to meet someone very different, boy. Just be your friendly self, okay?" A bright light appeared in the sky, growing larger by the second. The alien shuttle was smaller than the mothership but still impressive, about the size of a city bus and shaped like a teardrop. It hovered above the ground, then landed softly on 6 mechanical legs that extended from its bottom. A door slid open with a hiss of air. Commander Zarok ducked to exit the craft. In person, he was even more intimidating. His green, scaly skin reflected the sunlight. His 4 yellow eyes blinked in different patterns as he surveyed the scene. 2 armed guards followed him, each carrying what looked like advanced energy weapons. Alan took a deep breath and walked forward with Buddy on his leash. The golden retriever seemed curious but not afraid. "Greetings, Commander Zarok," Alan called out. "I'm Captain Alan Reed of Earth's Special Forces. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting." The alien commander stopped about 10 feet away, his eyes fixed on Buddy. "Is this some kind of joke, human?" he asked, his voice translated through a device on his chest. "You promised to show us your most formidable battle beast. This small creature is not what our scouts reported." Alan kept his voice calm. "This is exactly what your scouts saw, Commander. This is a dog, specifically a golden retriever named Buddy. Dogs are the companions your reports mentioned. They're not weapons. They're our friends." Zarok's head tilted in confusion. "Friends? You keep predator animals as friends?" "Yes," Alan said. "Dogs evolved alongside humans for thousands of years. They started as wild wolves, but over time we formed a special bond. They help us hunt, protect our homes, find lost people, guide the blind, and most importantly, provide companionship." The alien commander's eyes narrowed. "Show me this creature's battle capabilities." Alan smiled. "I'd be happy to show you what Buddy can do." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a tennis ball. "Buddy, want the ball?" The golden retriever's ears perked up immediately. His tail began to wag faster. Alan threw the ball across the field. Buddy took off like a shot, racing after it, grabbing it in his mouth, and proudly bringing it back. He dropped it at the alien's feet and looked up expectantly. "He wants you to throw it now," Alan explained. Commander Zarok stared at the ball, then at the dog. With obvious hesitation, he picked up the slobbery tennis ball between 2 clawed fingers. After a moment's uncertainty, he tossed it a short distance. Buddy happily chased after it and brought it back again, his whole body wiggling with joy. "This is a war game?" Zarok asked, clearly puzzled. "No, it's play," Alan said. "Dogs play because they enjoy it. They're intelligent enough to understand fun." The alien commander seemed genuinely stunned by this concept. "Our species does not play." Alan nodded toward the ball. "Maybe you should try it sometime." To everyone's surprise, Buddy suddenly sat down in front of Zarok and raised his paw as if offering a handshake. It was a trick Alan had taught him years ago. "He's offering friendship," Alan explained. "In human culture, we shake hands as a greeting." Zarok stared at the extended paw, then slowly reached out one clawed hand. Buddy's soft paw disappeared in the alien's massive grip. From the military perimeter, Colonel Susan whispered to General Harris, "I can't believe it. An alien invasion might be stopped by a handshake with a dog." Other people began to gather at the edge of the field. Locals who had heard about the meeting and couldn't stay away. Some had brought their own dogs, who barked excitedly at seeing Buddy in the distance. Hearing the barks, Commander Zarok looked up sharply. "There are more of these dogs?" "Billions," Alan said with a smile. "In all shapes and sizes. Would you like to meet some others?" For the first time, the alien's rigid posture seemed to relax slightly. "Perhaps that would be educational." More people cautiously approached with their dogs. Alan felt a spark of hope. The fate of Earth might rest on wagging tails and wet noses, and somehow, that seemed exactly right. Word spread quickly through Oakville. Soon, dozens of people gathered at the field's edge with their dogs. The military tried to keep them back, but Commander Zarok was curious. "I wish to see these other dogs," he said, his 4 yellow eyes blinking with interest. Alan looked at Colonel Susan, who nodded reluctantly. "Let them approach slowly," she ordered the soldiers. "Small groups only." The first to come forward was an elderly woman with a tiny chihuahua tucked in her arms. The dog shivered and yapped at the sight of the alien. "This is a dog too?" Zarok asked in disbelief. "It is so small." "We have many different breeds," Alan explained. "This is a chihuahua. People bred them to be small companions. Other dogs were bred for different jobs." Next came a family with a huge Great Dane that stood nearly as tall as Alan's waist. The alien commander's eyes widened. "Now this is more like the battle beast we expected," he said, studying the large dog. The Great Dane, despite its size, walked up to Zarok and sniffed his leg, then sat down and yawned. "Not very aggressive, is it?" the alien observed. The family laughed. "Bruno is a big softy," the father explained. "He's afraid of our cat." More people approached with more dogs. A German shepherd, a poodle, a beagle, a bulldog. Each one showed different traits, but all were friendly. Some wanted to play, others were shy, but none showed any sign of being the war beasts the aliens had feared. Commander Zarok seemed increasingly puzzled. He crouched down to get a better look at a border collie that was showing off tricks, rolling over, playing dead, and spinning in circles. "Your species has modified these animals to perform specific tasks?" he asked Alan. "Yes, through selective breeding over thousands of years," Alan explained. "Some dogs herd sheep, some hunt, some rescue people, some just keep us company. But all of them are partners, not weapons." A young girl approached with her service dog, a calm Labrador wearing a special vest. "This is Daisy," the girl told the alien, showing no fear. "She helps me when I have seizures. She can tell when one is coming and gets help." Zarok tilted his head. "The animal can detect illness?" The girl nodded. "She's trained to. Dogs can smell things we can't." The alien commander stared at the Labrador, then at the girl. "Your kind relies on these animals for health monitoring? Our technology performs such functions." "We have machines too," Alan said. "But they don't love you back." This concept seemed to truly baffle the alien. He stood to his full height and paced back and forth. "In our culture," Zarok finally said, "we have no animal companions. All creatures are either food, threats, or pests to be eliminated." "That sounds lonely," said the little girl, patting her service dog. The alien stopped pacing. "Lonely," he repeated as if learning a new word. "Perhaps it is." A police officer approached with his K9 partner, a German shepherd named Rex. "This is probably the closest thing we have to what you might call a battle beast," he explained. "Rex is trained to track people, find drugs, and help apprehend criminals. He can even bring down an armed suspect." Zarok watched as the officer demonstrated some of Rex's training. The dog could follow commands to attack a padded sleeve, search for hidden objects, and stop on command. "So they can be weapons," the alien noted. "No," the officer corrected firmly. "Rex is a partner. He lives with me. My kids play with him. He's part of my family. When we work, he protects me and I protect him. Commander Zarok turned to Alan. This partnership concept, it is central to your relationship with these animals? Exactly, Alan said. Dogs and humans chose each other in a way. Early wolves that were friendlier toward humans got more food. Humans who accepted these wolves got protection and hunting help. Over thousands of years we evolved together. The alien commander ordered one of his guards to bring something from the shuttle. The guard returned with a small device that projected a hologram, a six-legged creature with shiny purple fur and large ears. This is a Krell, Zarok explained. On our world, they are considered vermin. They eat our food stores and damage equipment. They look kind of cute, someone in the crowd commented. Cute? The alien seemed confused by the word. Appealing. Pleasant to look at, Alan explained. Zarok made a sound that might have been a laugh. We have never thought of them as cute. They are pests to be eliminated. Buddy, who had been sitting patiently by Alan's side, suddenly stood up and approached the hologram, sniffing curiously at the projected image. Your dog seems interested in our vermin, Zarok observed. Dogs are curious by nature, Alan said. They want to investigate new things. The alien commander watched Buddy for a long moment. Perhaps we have been too quick to judge other species. He turned to face the gathered humans and their dogs. I must speak with my superiors. This situation is not what we expected. As Zarok returned to his shuttle, Alan felt a mix of hope and worry. Had they changed the alien's mind? Or would the rest of the Draconians still see Earth as a threat? The shuttle door closed behind the commander. Everyone held their breath, wondering what would happen next. 10 tense minutes passed. Then the shuttle door opened again. Commander Zarok emerged, but this time without his guards. He walked directly to Alan. My superiors are intrigued by this new information, he said. They have ordered me to learn more about your relationship with these animals. Alan smiled with relief. We'd be happy to teach you. Over the next few hours, the field became an impromptu dog park. Children showed the alien commander how to play fetch. The police demonstrated search and rescue techniques. Dog trainers explained how they communicated with their animals. Zarok watched it all. With growing interest, he even tentatively petted some of the friendlier dogs, seeming amazed when they wagged their tails in response. They express happiness through tail movement, he noted. Fascinating. As the sun began to set, the alien commander approached Alan again. Captain Reed, I have a request. Would it be possible for me to spend more time with these dogs? Perhaps visit different locations where they work and live? I think that could be arranged, Alan said. What exactly did you have in mind? A cultural exchange, Zarok replied. I wish to understand this partnership between your species and these animals. It is unlike anything in our history. Colonel Susan, who had been watching nearby, joined them. A cultural exchange sounds better than an invasion, she said cautiously. Indeed, the alien agreed. My superiors now believe there is more to learn from your planet than we first thought. That night, as news spread around the world that the aliens wanted to learn about dogs instead of conquering Earth, people everywhere breathed a sigh of relief. The massive ship still hung in the sky, but they no longer seemed quite so threatening. At home, Alan gave Buddy an extra treat and a long belly rub. Good boy, he said softly. You might have just saved the world by being yourself. Buddy didn't understand the words, but he understood the love behind them. He licked Alan's face and wagged his tail, happy simply to be with his human friend. 1 week passed since the aliens first appeared over Earth. Things had changed quickly. The giant ship still hung in the sky, but now they were a strange sight that people were getting used to. In Oakville, Commander Zarok had become an unusual visitor. Alan woke up early one morning to find 3 messages on his phone. All from Colonel Susan, all marked urgent. He quickly called her back. Reed, we need you at the base right away, she said, her voice tense. Our alien friends have a new request, and it's unusual. 30 minutes later, Alan arrived at the military base that had been set up near the landing site. To his surprise, Buddy was also invited. Bring your dog, Susan had insisted. Inside the main building, Alan found an odd meeting in progress. Commander Zarok sat at a large table with General Harris, Colonel Susan, and several scientists. On the table was a hologram showing a planet with 3 moons. "Ah, Captain Reed," Zarok greeted him. "And the dog buddy. Excellent." Alan saluted the general, then nodded to the alien. "What's going on, sir?" General Harris looked uncomfortable. "Commander Zarok has made an official request from his government. I'll let him explain." The alien stood up. "Captain, after our cultural exchange, I sent detailed reports to my superiors about your relationship with dogs. They were fascinated. We have nothing like this in our culture." He touched a button, and the hologram changed to show the purple 6-legged creatures Alan had seen before, the ones Zarok had called vermin. "These Krell have always been pests on our world," Zarok continued. "But your stories about how wolves became dogs made us wonder, could the Krell become companions?" Alan blinked in surprise. "You want to domesticate them, like we did with dogs?" "Yes." The alien seemed excited. "Our scientists believe it might be possible. The Krell are intelligent, adaptable creatures, but we know nothing about forming bonds with other species. We need teachers." Colonel Susan leaned forward. "This is where it gets interesting, Reed. They want dog trainers, and dogs, to go back with them to their planet." Alan's mouth fell open. "They want our dogs? As what, examples?" "Exactly," Zarok nodded. "We need to observe how dogs and humans interact. We need humans who understand animal behavior to help us approach the Krell differently. Not as pests, but as potential partners." General Harris cleared his throat. "We're treating this as a diplomatic mission, volunteers only, of course, but the president thinks it could be the beginning of a valuable alliance." Alan looked down at Buddy, who was sitting contentedly by his chair. "What exactly would this mission involve?" Dr. Wilson, the communication specialist, pulled out a tablet. "The Draconians are offering to take 20 humans and their dogs to their home planet for 1 Earth year. They would work with Draconian scientists to establish basic training protocols for the Krell." "Is their planet even safe for humans and dogs?" Alan asked. "Can we breathe the air, eat the food?" "Their atmosphere is similar enough to ours," one of the scientists explained. "They've provided data on their environment, and we believe humans could live there with minimal adjustments. As for food, they would supply everything we need." Alan scratched his chin thoughtfully. "Has anyone volunteered yet?" "Actually, Colonel," Susan said with a small smile, "Commander Zarok specifically requested you and Buddy. He says you two showed him what true partnership between species looks like." Buddy's ears perked up at hearing his name. He looked up at Alan with those trusting brown eyes. "I'd need to think about it," Alan said. "Of course," Zarok replied. "This is not a small thing we ask." 3 days later, Alan stood in his backyard, throwing a ball for Buddy. The golden retriever raced back and forth happily, bringing the ball back each time. Alan's phone rang. It was Joe, his neighbor. "Hey, is it true?" Joe asked without saying hello. "Are you really going to another planet?" Alan laughed. News travels fast in a small town. "So it's true? You and Buddy are going to be space travelers?" "We are," Alan confirmed, along with 19 other people and their dogs. Dog trainers, veterinarians, animal behaviorists, even a couple of families with kids. The aliens want to see how dogs interact with all types of humans. "That's crazy," Joe said. "Aren't you scared?" Alan watched Buddy rolling in the grass. A little, but also excited. How many people get a chance to visit another world? And maybe help 2 species learn to live together? The day of departure arrived faster than Alan expected. The chosen volunteers gathered at the landing field with their dogs and small bags of personal items. The Draconians had promised to provide everything else they would need. The group was diverse. Professional dog trainers with their border collies and shepherds, a search and rescue team with their Labrador, an elderly woman with her therapy poodle, a family with 2 young children and their playful beagle, even a police officer with his K9 partner. Commander Zarok greeted them personally. "Thank you, all, for your courage. This cultural exchange will benefit both our worlds. A much larger shuttle than before waited to take them to the mothership. As they prepared to board, Alan felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned to see Colonel Susan. "Take care of yourself up there, Reed," she said, then bent down to pet Buddy. "And you too, Space Dog." "We'll send regular reports," Alan promised. "You'd better. The whole world will be waiting to hear about your adventure." The journey to the draconian homeworld took 3 weeks. The massive ship moved faster than anything humans had built, but space was vast. During that time, the volunteers learned more about draconian culture, and the aliens learned more about dogs. Many of the draconian crew members were nervous around the dogs at first, but day by day, those barriers broke down. Alan often found alien scientists sitting on the floor, petting dogs or playing simple games with them. "It is strange," one draconian told Alan. "I feel different when I pet the dog, calmer." "That's normal," Alan explained. "Studies show that interacting with dogs lowers stress hormones in humans. Maybe it works for your species too." When they finally arrived at the draconian homeworld, Alan and Buddy stood at a viewport looking down at the planet below. It had vast blue oceans like Earth, but the land was more orange than green. "It's beautiful," Alan said. Commander Zarok stood beside him. "It is home, and now for 1 year it will be your home too." As they prepared to descend to the planet, news arrived from Earth. Animal shelters around the world had been flooded with people wanting to adopt dogs. The story of how dogs had saved Earth from alien invasion had created a wave of appreciation for man's best friend. Even more surprising, the draconian leadership had commissioned a monument to be built on their planet, a statue showing a human and a dog standing together. "Your species has taught us something important," Zarok told Alan. "That strength can be found not just in weapons or technology, but in bonds of friendship and trust." The shuttle landed on the draconian world. As the doors opened, Alan took a deep breath of alien air. It smelled different, spicier somehow, but breathable. Buddy looked up at him, tail wagging. "Well, boy," Alan said, scratching behind his dog's ears. "Ready for our biggest adventure yet?" Together, they stepped onto the soil of another world, ambassadors of Earth, teachers of friendship, and living proof that sometimes the best way to connect with another species is through a wagging tail and a wet nose. The end.